Hello and welcome to The Gavel. I am Benny Ark. The Senate resumed plenary in preparation for the arrival of the service chiefs to the upper chamber. For the second time, they demanded the presence of the service chiefs on the deteriorating state of insecurity across the country. Take a look.
Anticipation mounted as the Senate resumed plenary on the second legislative day of the week, with the expected arrival of service chiefs to the upper chamber. The worsening state of insecurity in the country has been a major subject of debate among the lawmakers. For this reason, the service chiefs have been summoned for a second time under the 10th Assembly to give explanations. The service chiefs were admitted into the chamber, but the absence of the National Security Advisor and the Chief of Defense Staff was noticeable.
The security chiefs to have interaction with us, to brief us on the efforts being made to curb this resurgence, and at the same time give us the opportunity to also make our suggestions for the betterment of the country. So please, whilst we welcome you, we want you to know that it is not because of the fact that we are not passing the buck. We are not blaming any of you for anything. We believe you are doing your best. We want to hear from you and also make contributions on how we can improve the situation. So we welcome you, but we are not complete. We would like to have also with you in attendance the Chief of Defense Staff. Is it the view of the Senate? We would like also to have the National Security Advisor in attendance. Is that the view of the Senate? So the clerk of the Senate has directed accordingly that you further invite the National Security Advisor, the Minister of Defense, the Minister of State Defense, the Minister of Police Affairs, the Minister of State Police Affairs, Minister of Interior, Minister of Finance, and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, in addition to the service chiefs who have honored the invitation of the Senate.
The protracted spate of abductions, banditry and armed robbery across the country has in the last few weeks seen an upsurge, and the Senate agrees that the nation, and the FCT in particular, is under threat. Meanwhile, the Senate has been given further reasons why the postponement was expedient. In an exclusive interview, the Senate spokesperson, Senator Yemi Adaramodu, explains that Nigerians will not take the Senate serious if it took on the matter in segments.
We don't want to be going back and forth anymore because it has reached that tempo whereby we have to get to where we are going in Nigeria. And it is very pertinent to ensure that we don't just see a sect now. 2 days after we now call another sect, Nigerians will not even take us very serious. So definitely it is not a matter of saying that if we invite the head, then the sub will just come and then we just take them and then we'll be waiting for another day. Definitely the National Security Advisor, who is advising the President about the issue of security, who collects every security report and sends such to the President for action, then must be on seat. And not only that, the Chief of the Defense Staff, who is in charge of either the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force, must be there. And definitely, we must bring in the economic team. We must bring in the security team. Then all of us must now sit down together. If it is for us to make laws to ensure that things are done properly and we get result, then we do that. If it is for us to impress it on the executive to make sure that what they are supposed to do, they do it, then we have to get that one. If to tell us that maybe the appropriation that we have been making, maybe we have been wrong on it, then they have to tell us. So what we are going to do, we will not even think of any reprimand unless they are there and we ask questions from them directly. And then after maybe few days or weeks, and we cannot get the result, then we know what advice to give to the executive about the issues that are going on pertaining to security in Nigeria.
Still on security matters, the House of Representatives during plenary in the week carried on with its strings of sectoral debates, which started last year with the security chiefs on the country's internal security. Here is the report.
Tuesday's plenary in the House of Representatives was dedicated to the continuation of the series of sectorial debates by the House, which had commenced last year with the security chiefs on the country's internal security. The Green Chamber admitted the Ministers of Finance, Budget and National Planning, the CBN Governor, and the FIRS Chairman into the chamber for the debate.
The liquidity of the foreign exchange market for quite a while has been less than satisfactory, as a result of which the central bank has rolled out certain policies to ease that. That includes the need for the banks to maintain less of an open position or no position in certain circumstances. It has also included the whole issue of IMTOs having access to a free, transparent market whereby the volume of transactions that used to go to other places now goes officially within the system. So that and a whole host of other measures to ensure that we have transparency in that market and increase the volume of transactions that go through, which a number of questions have tried to find answers to.
We are not going to take the easy way out. And more than that, the budget provided more money, both on nominal and in real terms, than has ever been provided in the priority sectors.
Where we are as a nation economically is a much, much better place than we were on the 29th of May, 2023. If we look at the finances of the government today, there has been benefit to the Federation account. And likewise, there have been other benefits which have accrued as a result of the changes that have been made.
They respond to questions from lawmakers on improving the economy and reducing the cost of living, which is sparking pockets of debates across the country.
Last year, we painstakingly as a House passed a budget that was based on some indices on crude oil production and the dollar benchmark. As at today, those indices are far off point. My question is, given those indices, we will be able to implement the budget, and what steps are being taken to make sure that the budget is implemented or a supplementary budget is underway.
In our country today, the value of Naira has progressively declined from a state of concern to a state of fear and panic. But the value of other currencies across Africa have been largely stable. How do we reconcile their realities with Nigerian reality?
In line with the recent pronouncement of Mr. President that all oil revenues should be remitted to the CBN, I would like to know, does that go with gas revenue as well, which NNPC owes a substantial percentage of stake in the NLNG, and CBN as well? What measures are being put in place for the revenues from solid minerals not to have the same leakages that necessitated the pronouncement that all oil revenues should be going to the CBN? And same thing about the solid minerals. What's your plan for increasing solid minerals revenues so that it will not be solely dependent on oil revenue?
Being a former local government chairman, the NFIU has already passed the law that money should be paid directly to the local government, but it has never been implemented. So my question goes thus to the Minister of Finance, knowing of how the hardship of the poor is and economy is, as the economy is today, what effects or impacts do you think that the full autonomy of local governments would have if granted and approved?
My question to my brother, the chairman FIRS, Mr. Zach, is to know what you're planning to do, or if you have it in plan, tax exchange. Because I'm aware that there was a time we were talking of tax credits for infrastructure. So I don't know if you are in talks with our counterparts in works to see if people could deploy their tax equivalent to infrastructure and thereafter reconcile with the FIRS for accountability and more revenue.
We have the target for this year, based on the approved budget, to collect 19.2 trillion, which is 7.2 trillion more than what we actually collected this year. And given this economic condition and with the promise of Mr. President that we are not going to introduce additional tax, we are not going to increase any tax, considering the situation and welfare of our people, that what we need to do is to re-strategize within to make sure that we bring more people into tax net.
A lot of the measures that have been rolled out to turn the very challenging situation around are beginning to yield fruit. They are beginning to yield fruit. You find that, and I said this in my presentation, the liquidity of the foreign exchange market for quite a while has been less than satisfactory, as a result of which the central bank has rolled out certain policies to ease that.
Number one road to salvation is getting crude oil